So in today's video, I'm going to be reading off some unpopular opinions I found on the internet. And after each opinion, I'm going to be adding my own personal take. So sit back and enjoy. I hope you like what you're about to see. Opinion number 1. Stop waiting until 65 to enjoy your money. We should take like 1 or 2 years of mini retirement around age 45 instead of that. I say this as someone who got laid off at age 40 after working for the same company for 15 years and spent what I consider to be the best mini retirement of my life. I'm back working now, but just in case others are not sure about it, you may want to try it, whether you are laid off or just need to take some time for you. Subs like personal finance and middle class finance are absolutely obsessed with maxing out every possible retirement account. But they completely ignore a grim reality. None of us are guaranteed to reach 65. Instead of hoarding every penny for a future you might be too sick or dead to enjoy, it should be normalized to take a mini retirement mid-career. For me, the best was being able to spend time with my 3 kids and hanging out with them, doing family activities. So if people are financially stressed and can't really take a mini retirement because of financial need, I think you can still absolutely get to enjoy some of your life on your own terms while you're still young if you take a mini retirement. So, about my personal take on this one. This hits insanely hard because the entire system is built on the illusion of delayed gratification. You spend your early 20s pulling your hair out over, college stuff, work stuff, business, and eventually you're, get too old and you're just too tired, or your body's like too out of order to enjoy all of the wealth you've spent your time building. The problem is we're culturally brainwashed to treat life like a video game where you just hoard all your best potions for the final boss, and then the game ends and you never even use them. The financial gurus out there preach this militant frugality, telling you to eat rice and beans so you can have $3 million when you're 70. But it's a scam. Your 30s and 40s are your prime cognitive and physical years. If you have the means, step in a way to actually experience the world, play a game, learn an instrument, or just breathe without suffocating. It's like the most rational thing you can do. The people who call this irresponsible are just terrified of stepping out of the treadmill because they don't actually know who they are without their job title. So in the end, I think this unpopular opinion is like a pretty good one. Opinion number 2. Is college becoming more about networking than actual education? I've been thinking about this lately, and I'd like to hear different perspectives. It seems like students are often told that networking, internships, extracurricular activities, and building a strong LinkedIn profile matter more than getting top grades. Sometimes it feels like who you know can have a bigger impact on your career than what you actually learn in class. Don't get me wrong, I think networking is valuable, but has the balance shifted too far? Is college slowly becoming a place to build connections rather than gain knowledge? For those who have graduated or are currently studying, do you think networking is more important than academics today? Has your college experience reflected this? If you could prioritize only one, what would it be and why? I'm genuinely interested in hearing different opinions. So, as a college student myself, I'm going to be giving you my take. Anyone sitting in a massive university lecture hall right now already knows the dark truth about this. You can be the guy who grinds until 3 a.m., mastering absolute most agonizing, soul-crushing different college stuff, subjects, and just committing to deadlines and whatnot. And then you watch the guy who barely passed but spent his weekends playing golf with the professors or going to corporate mixers, land the elite internship. It is infuriating, but it proves that the university system is completely mutated. It used to be a place where you locked yourself away to master a craft or learn a science. Now it's essentially a wildly expensive country club masquerading as an educational institution. But here's the catch that the networking bros never talk about. Connection gets you in the door, but competence keeps you in the room. You can network your way into a high-level job, but if you don't actually know how to run the stuff they want you to do, like if you aren't capable of the skills they are asking you, you will be exposed as a fraud instantly. The real unpopular opinion here is that you need both. But if forced to choose, I would rather be a silent genius who has to fight for an interview, rather than a well-connected idiot who bankrupts the company. So yeah, that's my take. Opinion number 3. Getting proven wrong should be something that excites you, not angers you. I'd like to think many people trust their own conscience and gut more than anyone else. Imagine trusting yourself so much on whether it be a fact, knowledge, history, or anything, only to be told what you think is correct is actually wrong. For many, this is an angering feeling, like, I hate this guy for knowing more than me. He sucks, he doesn't know what he's saying. That's usually the reaction. But imagine if you change the reaction into something like, wait, this isn't correct, I'm not correct. I thought I'm always correct. There's more to learn. If getting proven wrong is seen as an opportunity to simply learn more, why is it so infuriating? Obviously, if somebody is rubbing it in your face, this is a separate conversation because it's not about the proven facts anymore, but rather than the person just being an asshole. I love to get proven wrong because it just opens up an opportunity to learn something new about a topic. Think of it as those times people say they wish they can see a movie again for the first time or read something again for the first time. Getting proven wrong on something you think you know so well is like this. You get to learn it again and it's new. So my personal take here, this is the ultimate test of emotional maturity in my opinion. We live in an era where everyone's ego is completely tied to being right on the internet. But if you actually care about how things work rather than your opinion being correct, if you're actually fascinated and excited by the mechanics of the thing, not the fact that you're right or you know everything, then you probably should be happy when someone proves you wrong. Because listen, when you get proven wrong, your brain's defense mechanism violently activates. It feels like a physical attack. But if you can swallow that pride for exactly 5 seconds, you unlock a completely new level of understanding. Think about when you're deeply analyzing something, absolutely convinced it operates on a standard pattern, and someone comes along and proves it's actually completely irregular. The average person here gets defensive and attacks the source. But the intelligent person, they realize that they just, got handed a free upgrade to their own knowledge base. Refusing to be wrong is exactly why so many people stagnate and stay aggressively average their entire lives. So I think in my opinion, you shouldn't be afraid to be proven wrong. You should rather be fascinated by it or look forward to it. Opinion number 4. Friendships shouldn't last longer than one chapter of your life. For some reason, it's considered normal to stay close to your friends from childhood, high school, or college even long after you've graduated or moved away. But maintaining friendship is a ton of hard work, especially as an adult. Especially when you have other priorities in your life. So trying to keep in touch or stay friends with people that you were really close to when you were younger is more of a chore than it is a benefit. Jesus, who even wrote this, man? You're putting in a ridiculous amount of effort just to hang out once in a blue moon. Also, it makes you weaker because you're staying dependent on other people to make you happy. At any point in time, your old friends may find a new group of friends in your new city or workplace, and you will start to come second. But if you cut ties with old friends, you're forced to step out of your comfort zone and befriend new people who are actually part of your everyday life in the present, like neighbors or co-workers. And at the end of the day, everyone is replaceable anyway. Man. So there's nothing wrong with letting friendship die a peaceful death after a few years. It's honestly more strange when grown adults in their 20s or older are still maintaining friendship with people from adolescence. When you allow yourself to move on, you're keeping yourself independent, which only makes you stronger. So, my personal take on this one, this is a dangerously bleak way to view human interaction. And honestly, it reeks of a toxic, hyper-independent internet culture that tries to turn humans into optimized machines, like everyone is replaceable anyways. What an incredibly sad sentence. It's obviously coming from someone with, sad past experiences. Well, yes, forcing a dead relationship is exhausting, but the idea that keeping old friends makes you weak is completely backwards. True strength is having an anchor. When your current life is falling apart, when the new co-workers are stressing you out, and when you're overwhelmed by the complexity of whatever new chapter you're in, the new people you just met don't actually know you. They know the current version of you. And what if you have that one close friend, the guy you can call up who knows exactly how your brain works and who can just listen to your massive complicated crisis and effortlessly oversimplify it to calm you down? It is definitely irreplaceable. I'm sorry, I'm stuttering here. You don't want to throw away a decade of deep shared context just because sending a text message is like too hard for you. Like, what's wrong with you? Is it too hard to ask your friends how they're doing every once in a while? Treating people like disposable NPCs the moment you move to a new map is the fastest route to living a very lonely, superficial life. And it pretty much seems like the person who wrote this opinion is gonna have a, pretty lonely midlife crisis very soon. Opinion number 5. Talent is an insult to hard work. People love to label anyone who's exceptionally good at something as naturally talented. We do it with musicians, artists, athletes, and programmers, but calling someone talented is actually a massive insult because it completely erases the thousands of hours of brutal, boring, unglamorous practice they put in. When you say, "Wow, you're so talented," what you're actually saying is, "You were born with a magical gift that I don't have. Therefore, I don't have to feel bad about not being as good as you." It is an excuse for the lazy observer. So let me give you my take on this. I could rant about this for an hour. People see the final project and assume it was magic. You watch a guy shred an incredibly complex emotional guitar solo or do anything else that requires a bunch of practice and prior experience, and they practically go like, "Wow, he's a natural." No, he isn't. You didn't see the weeks of him sitting in a quiet room, screwing up the exact same transition 200 times, or failing to do the exact same thing for weeks, a month, and years. You just see the final result and go like, "Damn, he knows how to do it. He's a natural. He's talented." We use the word talent to absolve ourselves of guilt. If that person is just talented, then we never had a chance anyways, right? It protects our ego. But the truth is, outside of a very small genetic advantage at the absolute highest tiers of sports and academics, pure obsession beats natural talent every single time. If you lock yourself in a room and refuse to quit until you get the result, you will eventually look like a genius to the outside world. So, I truly do think that talent is defined in the wrong way nowadays. Opinion number 6. Video games shouldn't cater to everyone, and asking for an easy mode in a famously difficult game ruins the artistic vision. Gamers have become incredibly entitled, demanding that every piece of media should be tailored to their specific skill level. If a developer creates a brutal, unforgiving world where the entire point of the narrative is feeling small and overcoming impossible odds, adding a slider that turns the buses into fragile pinatas destroys the entire experience. Not every game needs to be accessible to every person. Okay, so personally speaking, this is the ultimate dividing line in modern gaming. We have become so addicted to instant gratification and participation trophies that the concept of genuine friction offends people. But the friction is the entire point here. When you dive into a truly punishing game, the world doesn't care about you. It demands that you adapt, learn the mechanics, and actually get good. If you can't just toggle a menu option to take 0 damage, or if you just pick up a broken cheese build to melt the boss without actually learning their moveset, you completely rob yourself of the dopamine rush of earning the victory. And earning here is doing a lot of heavy lifting. When I say earning the victory, I mean sitting at the same section, grinding for hours, trying to learn how to get past that certain boss who is who has been killing you for the past 100 attempts. That's what earning the victory means, in my opinion. Overcoming challenges using pure skill, raw mechanics, and your own brain is a feeling that a pre-made walkthrough or an easy mode can never give you. The developers built a wall for a reason, so stop asking them to lower the wall and just learn how to climb it. I think I truly agree with this one opinion. Here we go, opinion number 7. We need to stop romanticizing the hostile culture of running off zero sleep. Bragging about how little you sleep isn't a flex, it's a giant red flag that you have zero time management skills and are actively destroying your own brain chemistry. People will proudly announce that they only slept 3 hours because they were on the grind. Congratulations! You're now operating at the cognitive level of a legally intoxicated person, your emotional regulation is shattered, and your work quality is going to be absolute garbage. So about my take, this mentality is a plague, especially in high-stress environments. You see it constantly, people wear their exhaustion like a badge of honor, competing in this weird misery Olympics where the person closest to a total physical collapse is somehow the winner. People like to throw themselves pity parties in this type of niche. It is entirely counterproductive though if you're trying to do anything that requires deep complex thought like solving personal problems, getting to grind for your college, your business, your work, your stuff. Sleep deprivation destroys your reaction time and your logic centers. You aren't being a grinder here, you're just operating a machine with no oil and bragging about the smoke pouring out of the engine. The real flex is getting 8 hours of sleep, waking up with a clear head and outworking the exhausted hostile bros in half the time because your brain is actually firing on all cylinders. So yeah, there's nothing to flex about getting 3 hours of sleep a day. You should rather be flexing your fixed sleep schedule and your brain functioning normally, in my opinion. I think this is entirely correct. There is not a single thing wrong about it. Opinion number 8. Modern pop music and digital production have completely killed the soul of music. Everything is perfectly pitch corrected, snapping to a grid, and generated by algorithms. We've lost the human element of music. The slight tempo variations, the raw voice cracking, and actual sound of fingers sliding on a fretboard. If a computer is doing 90% of the work, you aren't a musician, you're just a data entry clerk with a good marketing team. So about my take, this is probably just as unpopular as it makes it out to be. The view that digital production kills the soul of music is often built on gatekeeping. Before high-quality digital audio workstations or, in short, DAWs and home recording setups existed, the music industry was controlled by massive record labels. If you couldn't afford thousands of dollars a day for professional studio time, tape machines and elite sound engineers, your music simply never got heard. Digital production didn't kill music, it just, gave normal people a chance. It took the power out of the hands of wealthy executives and gave it to anyone with a laptop and a creative spark. Furthermore, electronic music, complex synth programming, and digital manipulation are highly demanding creative skills in their own right. Using a computer to shape sound waves, design custom synth, and arrange intricate layers requires a deep understanding of frequency, rhythm, and composition and music overall. A computer in this case is just a tool, just like a guitar or a piano, and the soul of the music still comes from the human who directed it, who wrote it, who made it that way. So yeah, I think, I'm not saying I totally disagree with this one, but I think I at least 80% disagree for the reasons I just mentioned. Opinion number 9. The pressure to be in a romantic relationship is a societal scam. People are so terrified of being alone that they force themselves into miserable, incompatible relationships just to hit a milestone. It is perfectly fine to just not care about dating. If you haven't met someone who actually makes your life significantly better, Staying single is 100% the superior option. So, by my take, this is a massive reality check that most people are completely unequipped to handle. Society constantly pushes this narrative that if you aren't actively swiping on dating apps or trying to find a partner, there is something fundamentally broken with you. But why compromise peace, free time, and mental energy for a forced connection? Staying single removes an incredible amount of unnecessary drama. People constantly complain about relationship issues, agonizing over text messages, and compromising their own goals just to keep someone else happy. If a relationship isn't, adding any value to your life, forcing it's like the ultimate form of self-sabotage. Like, why bother going into a relationship if it just makes you worse? Being completely comfortable in your own company is a superpower that makes you immune to settling. So, yeah, I think I totally agree. If the relationship is gonna rather make you miserable and screwed up rather than, makes you move in the direction of growth, I think you better just stay single. Opinion number 10. Sports fans who say we won when their team wins are delusional. You didn't win anything. You sat on a couch, drank a soda, and watched a group of millionaires play a game on a screen. Taking personal pride in the athletic achievements of strangers is just a way to compensate for having no actual achievements of your own. Damn, so about my take, man, this is kind of, it's a painfully cynical take you see from people who just don't understand the psychology of community. Yes, strictly speaking, the average fan is not running on the pitch or shooting three-pointers for their favorite team. They didn't put in the physical work, but sports aren't about claiming the athletic achievements. They're about tribal loyalty and emotional investment. When you follow a team for years through the absolute brutal seasons and the championship runs, you're strapping yourself into a collective emotional roller coaster with millions of other people. It is one of the few things left in the modern world that crosses every cultural and demographic line. It connects people from every race, every country, every culture, every religious belief. When a fan says we won, they aren't claiming that they scored the goal. They're acknowledging that they are part of the financial and emotional ecosystem that keeps the entire machine alive. Without the fans, the sport just simply doesn't exist. So in a way, we actually did win. We actually did win, in fact. So I think there's nothing wrong with saying we won when your favorite team wins. There's nothing wrong with that. Opinion number 11. Schools do not teach you how to learn. They teach you how to memorize and comply. The entire academic system is built on outdated industrial era models that reward people for repeating facts on a piece of paper. If you drop a straight A student into a chaotic real-world scenario where there's no textbook and no clear instructions, they completely freeze up. So about my take, anyone who has survived a tough academic field knows this is the literal truth, and I'm sorry to all the college students out there, but let me be straight with you. You can memorize all the theoretical formulas you want and stare at the books for as long as you want, but the moment you're thrown in a real-life scenario, a situation where those lines of text you memorize don't come in hand, but rather the practical ability to solve problems and make the system work, in that point you do freeze up if the only thing you have spent your time on was memorizing stuff off of a textbook. The real world is entirely about troubleshooting. It's about looking at a broken system, identifying the variables, and experimenting until you force it to work. Our education system punishes failure and experimentation, which is completely backwards. In any difficult technical or creative pursuit, failing multiple times is literally part of the process of finding the one that actually works. People who succeed aren't the ones who memorize the syllabus. They're the ones who can handle frustration of having no idea what they're doing and relentlessly attacking the problem until they figure it out. So, yeah, this opinion is entirely true, to be honest. Opinion number 12. The concept of a guilty pleasure is pathetic. If you like something, just own it. Hiding your music taste, your favorite shows, or your hobbies because they don't fit your aesthetic just proves that you're deeply insecure and desperately crave the validation of others. About my take, this is incredibly accurate, honestly. We have this weird habit of hiding our personal interests, things we like, our hobbies, things we do on our free time, just because they sound maybe like lame or cringe or like childish to other people around us. But humans are infinitely more complex than that. You can spend your afternoon debating the complex philosophical themes of a dark psychological thriller anime and then instantly switch over to blasting upbeat bright pop music. Like, who actually cares? People who judge you for having contrasting interests are usually the most boring one-dimensional people on the planet. Owning exactly what you like without a shred of irony or guilt is the ultimate display of actual confidence. If you believe in yourself, if you actually own your personal hobbies and interests, you aren't gonna jump off when people tell you that what you like is lame or cringe in their opinion, because you don't care. You just do what you do. You don't do it for other people's validation. You do it for yourself. So that's like completely true. Just own what you like without shame. Opinion number 13. The internet was infinitely better when everyone used aliases and avatars instead of their real names and faces on the internet. The push to tie our physical identities to our digital footprint destroyed the freedom of the web. Anonymity forced people to judge you based entirely on your ideas, your skills, and what you created, rather than what you looked like or where you came from. So, my opinion, we really didn't know how good we had it in the past. When you operate under an alias, you get to completely separate your physical reality from your digital output. When your real name is attached to everything, every single argument, opinion, or piece of content you make is instantly tied to your real-world identity. It makes people terrified to speak their minds. But under an alias, a handle, a profile picture that isn't you, you're a ghost in the machine. If you want to dive deep into a forum and troubleshoot a complex technical issue, or drop a massive controversial theory about a movie, you are judged solely on the merits of your words. It levels the playing field completely. The modern internet feels like a massive corporate networking event, and we traded true freedom of speech for online resumes and profile pictures. So I think it used to be better in the past, not gonna lie. Opinion number 14. People who simplify, or rather oversimplify, other people's problems are the most valuable friends you can have. We're constantly told that a good friend is someone who will sit with you for hours, validating all your feelings and let you vent endlessly. But sometimes you don't need validation. You need someone to look at your massive crisis and say, "You're overthinking it, just do X." About my personal opinion on this one, there's a massive difference between being emotionally supportive and just enabling a downward spiral. When you're stuck inside your own head, every single problem feels like an unsolvable equation. You build these massive webs of anxiety, mapping out every possible way a situation could go wrong. And then you call up a friend and they just feed into that anxiety and make it even worse. But when you have that close friend who listens to your 20-minute rant, completely ignores the unnecessary details and just brutally oversimplifies the entire situation into one basic action step, that is the ultimate save. It snaps you out of the illusion. We make our own lives so much harder than they need to be. And having someone who refuses to participate in your overcomplication is the fastest way to get your head back in the game. So at the end of the day, I think it's sometimes good to have that type of friend who just tells you to do X instead of overthinking it for 15 hours. that brings us to opinion number 15. The idea that unconditional loyalty is a virtue is incredibly dangerous, whether it's loyalty to a family member, a brand, or a sports team, or a political stance. Blind devotion forces you to ignore bad behavior, toxic habits, and objective facts. True maturity is knowing when to cut ties and walk away when something no longer aligns with the reality or your values. About my personal take, loyalty is one of those concepts where we are taught to value from childhood, but in practice it is often weaponized to exploit people. When a relationship, a job, or a group demands unconditional loyalty, they're essentially asking you to turn off your critical thinking. They want a guarantee that even if they treat you poorly, make terrible decisions, or lie to your face, you will stand by them. And that's just not good. That doesn't work that way, right? Real loyalty should be earned and maintained, not guaranteed. The second you make your support unconditional, you lose all your leverage. Like, it doesn't make sense when you say, no matter what this person or this tribe or this team or this cult or this politician do, I'm gonna support them nonetheless. I just like them for the love of the game. I don't care if their opinions are entirely incorrect and like morally vague. That would be wrong, You become an enabler at that point instead of a partner or a friend. Staying dedicated to something just because of history or tradition is a form of cognitive laziness. If the reality of a situation changes, your opinions should change too. Your stances, your loyalty shouldn't be forever. If it's not correct, you don't need to be loyal, honestly. Opinion number 16. Most people don't actually want solutions to their problems. They just want attention and pity. When someone complains to you about the exact same issue week after week and they reject every single practical piece of advice you offer, they aren't looking for a way out. They're using their misery as a social currency to get people to validate them. So, about my take, it is incredibly exhausting to play the role of the problem solver for someone who's addicted to their own drama, people who like their problems. You sit there genuinely trying to help them, give them ideas to get out of that, mess they have made, only to be met with an endless stream of, yeah, but... Eventually you realize that their problem has become their entire identity. If they actually fix the issue, they will lose the sympathy, the constant text check-ins, and the easy conversational topic that gets everyone to pay attention to them. Some people find comfort in being the victim because it absolves them of the responsibility of actually changing their life. Once you recognize this pattern, the best thing you can do is just stop offering solutions entirely. Just nod and say, oh, that sucks. And save your mental energy for people who actually want to make progress, for people who actually care about your efforts to help them, not people who are there to, gain attraction and validation from other people. Opinion number 17. The experience of traveling is highly overrated and mostly driven by social media envy. People will spend thousands of dollars to fly halfway across the world just to take the exact same photos as millions of other tourists, eat at overpriced restaurants, and look at landmarks they could have researched online. True self-discovery happens through discipline and routine at home, not by escaping your life for 2 weeks. So, let me give you my opinion on this one. Traveling has become the ultimate status symbol of the 21st century. We're constantly told that if you aren't booking flights, exploring ancient ruins, or finding yourself on a beach, you're living a narrow, uncultured life. But for most people, travel is just a temporary escape from a life they don't like. It's a distraction. You pack up your anxiety, your unresolved issues, and your lack of purpose, and you drag them to a different time zone. And guess what? When you get off the plane, you're still the exact same person. True growth isn't about changing your geographical coordinates. It's about changing your habits, your mindset, and how you spend your Tuesday afternoons. If you can't find peace or fulfillment in your everyday routine, a 2-week vacation in Europe isn't going to fix it, unfortunately. It's just an expensive band-aid. So I think I do agree with this one to a certain extent, which is not low at all. Opinion number 18. Follow your passion is some of the worst career advice ever given. Your passions are usually creative, recreational, or fluid, and trying to monetize them is the fastest way to make yourself hate them. Instead, you should find something that you are naturally decent at, that at the same time pays well, and keep your passion as secret hobbies that are entirely free from financial pressure. So about my personal take. The moment you turn a hobby into a job, you introduce variables that completely ruin the fun. Deadlines, demanding clients, financial anxiety, and administrative work. If you love painting, for instance, the second you have to paint 30 canvases a month just to pay rent, painting stops being a release and becomes a chore. A much more practical approach is to decouple your income from your identity. Find a stable, high-demand skill that you don't mind doing for 8 hours a day. Use that skill to fund your life and secure your freedom. Then you can enjoy your passions on your own terms all you want, with absolute creative freedom, because you don't need them to buy your groceries, Your job doesn't have to be your soulmate. It just needs to be a reliable partner that pays the bills. So I think this is pretty accurate. Opinion number 19. Oversimplified positive thinking, like everything happens for a reason or just think positive, is a toxic thought and prevents actual healing. It forces people to suppress legitimate negative emotions, guilt-tripping them for feeling sad, angry, or disappointed. Some things happen for absolutely no reason at all, and accepting that life can be chaotic and unfair is much healthier than pretending everything is a secret blessing. So, this trend of forced positivity is incredibly damaging because it invalidates the very real pain of living. When someone goes through a genuine tragedy, telling them that it's all part of a bigger plan is not comforting, it's dismissive. It's a lazy way of avoiding uncomfortable reality that sometimes bad things happen to good people and there's no silver lining here. Allowing yourself to feel grief, anger, and absolute frustration is a vital part of processing reality. If you constantly plaster a fake smile over your wounds, they will just fester underneath. True resilience isn't about pretending everything is fine. It's about acknowledging that a situation is completely terrible, sitting with the comfort, and finding a way to move forward despite the chaos. I'm sorry, my vocabulary is running out. I've been reciting too many facts, been stuttering too much for the past few ones, I guess. But hold on, we're just reaching the last one. And finally, after great effort, opinion number 20. Having high expectations of other people is actually just a form of arrogance. When you constantly get disappointed by how your friends, family, or co-workers behave, the problem isn't them, it's you. You're assuming everyone should operate under your specific moral code, work ethic, and level of awareness, which is entirely unrealistic. My final take. We love to frame our constant disappointment as a noble trait, saying things like, I just hold people to high standards. But in reality, you're just projecting your own values onto people who never ask for them. People, like everyone, has had a completely different upbringing, level of stress, and mental capacity. When you expect people to react to situations exactly how you would, you're setting yourself up for perpetual frustration. The key to peace of mind is accepting people exactly as they are, not as you want them to be. If their behavior consistently drains you, adjust your boundaries and keep your distance. Just get away from them, man. You don't need to be friends with people who keep draining your mental energy. But stop expecting them to change their entire personality just to meet a standard they don't even care about. Let people be average. Let people be themselves. And adjust your circle accordingly. Just find people that suit your interests. Not going around asking people to do according to your interests. Since they can't do that. They can't change because of you. And yeah, that's it. So this brings us to the end, and if you have watched this far, I'm truly grateful. Thank you so much. First of all, give me your opinions on some of the facts, some of the unpopular opinions and stuff. Like, yeah, try to give me a counter argument, or maybe validate my opinion further, whatever you like. And I'll be more than happy to read some of your unpopular opinions. And if you like the video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, since that would be pretty helpful for the channel. And yeah, guess that's it. See you on the next one. Bye for now.